Hey guys, Station X here, and today we're going to do a second pickups video. This is strictly PS3, and as you can see, there's quite a lot. The person I got this from just straight up was just getting rid of their entire PS3 collection. So, I mean, hey, I like having things for PS3 because that was the first system that I really was able to enjoy games from. Well, my history with it was, I started on the PS2, but those were only my dad's stuff. And then going into the PS3, that was another system that my parents bought for the family. So while it wasn't my system, I did get to buy games on my own a little bit here and have games that were mine that only I would play and not everybody else. So PS3 does have a little bit of a special place in my heart. Of course, the 360 was my first system that I got to keep on my own, and it was just like strictly mine. So that one really just has a soft spot for me. But we're talking about PS3 today, and it's part of the same generation. So a lot of the same games here that I have on the 360 are also here as well. So there are stuff that I technically already own for the Xbox 360, but did not own for PS3, which is nice because all these I got for free because the person I got this from were getting rid of them. So like I said in the last video, the reason why I didn't want to name this like a haul is because I didn't buy them. So, I mean, this right here, I think is perfect when you get stuff that you don't have for a specific system. So, for example, I didn't have the Assassin's Creed games for PS3 because I own them on a different system already. Like, I already have fully purchased them on a different system. So I didn't want to purchase them a second time or a third time or etc. on another system. Sometimes you have to because you're not always going to get free things in life. But like I said in the previous video, if it's nice to, you know, it benefits you to have friends, family, and others that know you know that you have a video game collection and that you like to always get games no matter what. Essentially, you could be just like the dumpster when it comes to them getting rid of your games. So, like, I always joke about that. Whenever someone like wants to throw something out or get rid of them, just give them to me, and then it's just I always add them to the collection. I always tell my friends and family that. So again, that's something that you want to do, is collect games and have specifically all the games for a specific system like I like to do. Always tell people, because then they'll look out for you that way. Here we have a bunch of games that, for one, either I don't actually own at all. There's some unique ones here, some that I never heard of, like PS3, especially in the early days, because as you can see, I have them separated from when they had it, when it first came out, because you have the different spines, and then like the different headers and spines, which I think is really, I really liked this. I really enjoyed this. Some people didn't, I don't know, and it has like the Spider-Man 3 font, I think was kind of funny. Not Spider-Man 3, I just say because of the 3. It's the Spider-Man font, but they also have it for, they also redid it, which is something we're more familiar with, and what would inspire the PS4 and PS3 spines as well. And it kind of more so matches the previous ones with PS2 and 1, but like I thought these were unique. So I mean, like, hey, I like both of them, but what sucks about both of them is when you're, say, like, you weren't separating them like this and you were just doing alphabetical right off the rip, you're gonna have situations where you'll have like this, where you have these separating each other, and I hated that. I hate that. I'm very OCD. Something I didn't talk about in the last video that I did these with. You know, greatest hits and platinum and whatever the hell you want to call them. Always hated those because the fact that they just don't look nice compared to a regular, you know, just regular print of these. So I like having them match. So what I did with the PS3 specifically, I just said, screw it. This is launch PS3 header, and then this is a redesigned header. So I believe they redesigned it in 2000, in between 2008 and 9. I don't remember exactly when, but it was around that time when they made the switch. And they started like not only redoing certain games that had these labels, but putting them in these labels. Because I know, like, Call of Duty, some of those Call of Duties had these labels, but then they got these labels. They also were just like, just moving forward with this, which is fine. I like this. This looks pretty. I also didn't mind this either. So I don't know. I didn't know if this was completely necessary, but I mean, hey, either one is fine. At least they didn't give us an ugly header, and then, you know, like, Xbox Series X is doing that right now, too. Like, I just wish they did that in the beginning. They didn't even do it for more than a year, so, I mean, as they use the exact same cases as the previous generation, so I just kind of hate that. But this was actually a weird situation, but enough, like, rambling. Let's just get into the actual games here. So, I'm just going to look at it. I'll start with the redesigned header first, mainly because we got a bunch of games like on this one that I already own, per se, like the Assassin's Creed games. Same thing with Assassin's Creed 1 down there. I already own these, so obviously these are great games. Very much love, specifically the Ezio collection here. Of course, we have the first one as well, but I always love these types of games. The new ones nowadays are fine. They're a little hit and miss sometimes. I think the last two they did were really good, but I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy them that well. But you also have Battlefield. So Battlefield 3 and 4 were really good. I very much enjoy these, specifically the campaigns. I was always a campaign guy, specifically with Battlefield. You know, if I wanted to play a first-person shooter game that was multiplayer, I was more of a Call of Duty guy. I know a lot of Battlefield fans are going to be a little upset with me with that, but, you know, it is what it is. I think this is fine. Like, I mean, I think the multiplayers are fine, too. I think this one's funny because you get a digital version of Battlefield 4 for just $10. So they were doing that kind of thing even back then, like having upgrades. And so, yeah, these were just really nice titles to own. And then, of course, one of my favorite campaigns, Bad Company 2. Bad Company 1 was great. This one was way, way better. I love this one the most. And I was kind of excited about the new one, the new Battlefield game, is that I saw that you were able to play the different types of, I guess, multiplayers for the different games. Like, there was Battlefield 3 maps with Battlefield 3 guns and stuff like that, and they also have Bad Company 2. And while the game is not the greatest thing in the world, like Battlefield 2042, like, the fact that they did that, I thought was, like, that just melted my nostalgia heart so much. I'm very much into that. And then, of course, Call of Duty and then Destiny. I kind of lumped these two together just because these are other two titles I own already on the 360 again. So, yeah, and this is another one. Get the PS4 version digitally for just $10. They're asking for $10 here. I think I don't remember if they still do it as $10 or if they're doing it as $5. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I mean, Call of Duty Ghosts, not my favorite. I don't think a lot of people like this, especially back then. I feel like more people appreciate it now, sort of like a appreciated after death sort of thing. But I don't know. I always still thought it was really bad. Destiny 1, however, was, you know, the first game Bungie did after leaving Microsoft, ending the Halo series for them. You know, they moving on to other things. And while some people have so many mixed opinions on it, some either say it's really bad, some people say it's really good, I don't have an extreme opinion on it. With what I played, I enjoyed it. It was not my favorite game, and I mean, I didn't spend millions of hours on it, but I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was that bad compared to some other people who were having really serious opinions on it, but I mean, it's whatever. Now, these are the only two games that I don't own, at least just, you know, this is an exclusive. This is only on PS3. And while I own the PS4 version of this, they had a collection with all three on here, but I never owned the original version, so I'm glad to have this. Uncharted is an amazing series. And while I'm not, you know, 2's not my favorite. I liked the first one a lot, and I liked 3 a lot. 2 was like, alright, it's great. It was still very good. I very much still enjoy this. But it was just one of those, like, alright, you know, going in, I didn't like it as much as 1, but like didn't also like it as much as 3 either. I thought 3 was a really nice kind of finale to the PS3 games, but Ghost Recon's 1 I just straight up never played. I never played this one, so this is nice to have in the collection. And this is also a PlayStation Move game as well, so that's nice. This is, I think, also only on the PS3, yeah. So this is another thing. I really liked having these only for PlayStation labels. They don't even do that for PS5 anymore. They stopped it for PS4 towards the end, and they just don't do it for PS5, which I don't understand why. I really liked it when titles did that. Like Xbox, PlayStation, like Nintendo never really did that. I think it's kind of obvious. Just see the Nintendo logo there, it's like, yeah. But they never, like, you know, I liked it when Xbox and PlayStation did that. But now we move on to these ones, the more, I like to call the retro PS3 labels. Now, here are a lot of unique games. I mean, there's still some that I already own, like the Assassin's Creed, and something I also like having is GTA 4. Also, I mean, look at that. That's like raised right there. I wish GTA 5 did that. That was so nice. Like, every game was like that. So that was like, oh, chef's kiss to that. But, like, seriously, like, this is a game that I owned on the 360, and I started GTA on the 360. But over time, I ended up getting a lot of the games for PlayStation, like the original trilogy for PS2 and stuff. The original trilogy I got for PS2 and stuff, so, you know, and then the first GTA games were only on PlayStation 1, and then I ended up getting GTA 5 for PS4 as well. So this was the only one that I didn't own a PlayStation copy of, and so getting this for free was amazing. I very much enjoyed that because of the fact that I didn't want to pay for something that I didn't necessarily need to buy again. That's another thing I think I mentioned in the other video that I mentioned earlier, actually, is that if I don't need to buy it, if I already own it, I don't want to necessarily. I only rebuy games if it's like towards the end of the thing and I have, say, like 20 games left to complete it. Then I don't mind, because it's like I'm right there. So going down, like, let's just go from the top now. We got Killzone 2. Haven't tried this yet, but it's a PlayStation exclusive, so I always like getting the PlayStation exclusive games, just so that it's these exclusives are always a reason to get the game, you know, get the system. So if you want to, like, I always like having complete sets of exclusives for a system. And then this is one of the many yeah, this cover is really bad, I know. But this is one of the few games they did for the MCU. The first one, actually, is Iron Man. So I really want to get this cover replaced. It's not, like, terrible. Like, the spine's not terrible, the back's not bad, and the game itself isn't bad. But if I get a replacement, I'm replacing this. This is awful. I hate the way the front looks. And then you got Guitar Hero 3. I think this is self-explanatory. It's Guitar Hero 3. It's a pretty good game. I'm very much into the rhythm games sometimes. FIFA 8, it's a sports game. That's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Not a big fan of FIFA that much. Like, not, especially in the new ones. I just don't like, I like sports games back in the original Xbox and PS2 era. Now, Eye of Judgment. Never heard of this game. I think it looks really funny and cool. And they also, it includes PlayStation Eye camera, which I just think is funny that pretty much every single PlayStation had a camera. I think even the PS1 had some kind of camera to it, but I'm not too sure. But at least going from the PS2 onward, you know, they had the Eye toy, then you have this PlayStation Eye camera, continuing that Eye name, and then, or at the very least, I think it uses the PS2 one. I don't know, because I know they did do a PS3 camera for the Move, so I don't know. Because this is an early one, and I don't remember the Move being out that early. And then Darkness is another one, which I think is really, really interesting looking. Like, this is one that I thought, you know, looked really cool when I saw it. So I was like, oh. And it's made by 2K, so I mean, I don't know. They made the Bioshock games, which is one of my favorite series. So I'm really hoping this is a good game. This is one I really want to try. And then, of course, we got Bionic Commando, one of those weird games that they made. You know, they made a retro one back in the day, you know, and then they do this, and it's just weird. It's just a weird game. You always hear about it when they go like, oh, games that went from 2D to 3D, and this one took a long time to make that transition, and it's just, you know, it's weird, you know. It's a weird game. I've never tried it, again, and I never thought I'd actually see this game in person, but this is it. And of course, we got Assassin's Creed 1. I'm going to skip over that. It's pretty much the same deal. And then Army of 2. I always thought that this game was kind of interesting, and I just never picked it up. Because you're a two-man army just going through different missions. And I just thought the concept was really neat. And I just never tried it. So, that's something I hope to do. I'm glad I could do now. And so now moving on Let me just fix this pile here. Moving on to the last stack we got Warhawk, which is a multiplayer online game. Like, it's just only multiplayer. So, good thing the PS3 multiplayer thing did not get shut down, because that was actually, they were threatening to shut that down, and they just never did, which is great, because a lot of people got very upset about that. But, yeah, this thing would be pretty much useless. But I'm used to buying and getting games that are pretty useless. So that's pretty much going in that pile right there. Unreal Tournament, never played this one. I had the PS2 one, and so yeah, it seems like it's first-person shooter games. But so I really do enjoy those. Call of Duty was one of my favorite games of all time. So I mean, I might actually enjoy this. Definitely want to try it out, but never actually played that one. We got UFC here, always nice, like having fighting games. Transformers the game. Movie games are always a hit or miss. Most of the time it's a miss, but I don't know. I never heard anything good or bad about this one. It was just kind of like meh. SOCOM, always like SOCOM. This one's another multiplayer online, like just only online. So yeah, this one would have been another useless title if they shut down the online for this. And then the Resistance games. Now, these looked really cool. Like, this is like after World War II, take place in the 1950s. And so you have like the World War II uniforms and kind of aesthetic, but it looks like they also get a little bit more modern weapons, I guess. Or at least weapons that are not World War II weapons. I mean, that, unless I'm just looking at that wrong, because I never played these, but like, unless I'm just looking at that wrong, it just looks like it's a unique weapon. And I mean, the guy on the cover has like that's definitely not a World War II. So, I mean, hey, and I just think that, look at that cover, man. That cover looks really good. And they made Insomniac Games. I really enjoy that company. And so they, I mean, one of my favorite games they made, recent memory, Spider-Man. So I mean, I very much enjoy that. And of course, Rainbow Six Vegas 2. They had just recently made a new one. So, I mean, everyone loves this one though. Rainbow Six Vegas. 1 and 2 I think were really nice. And they're always going to be my favorite Rainbow Six games. But that'll pretty much be it for this pile right here. This pickup was a lot. I think there was like 28 games in total. So there was just a lot to go through. And so I hope this video doesn't, I know this video is going to be a little long, but I hope it doesn't, get too long for some people. But I hope you guys enjoy. Again, tell me about your guys' collections and what's your favorite games in the comments below. I've been Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.